Hey, welcome in everybody. Michael back here again, and today we're going to jump into a lot of brand new PlayStation Homebrew news. So let's begin with some of the hottest stories, and the first one is going to take us over to HackerOne. So HackerOne is a bug bounty program, and what we can see over in the Hacktivity here is that there has been a couple of major bugs that has been reported. So as you can see, this one right here, it states that the bug reported by Slidey Bat was resolved 22 hours ago. Now, if we look right over here on the rewards chart, you can see that if it is in the high bug bounties, as it starts from 1,000 to 10,000, then more than likely there is something major going on there. And I already checked over on Twitter and I saw that Zeko had said likely a PS5 kernel exploit patched on 11.60 or maybe in the non-released yet beta of 12.00. So this could turn out to be something very, very large. But I try not to get your hopes up with that, but I will always report on the latest and greatest news. Now, one other thing that we did see in this was that the flow popped up again, and it says bug reported by the Flow Zero was resolved 6 days ago, and this one netted $5,000. So this one also would fall in that high range, which again, these could be or potentially could be a kernel exploit. Now, we obviously do not know what these are at this time, and it is totally up to Sony to release the details of them. But as you know from a lot of the Flows work, that is usually disclosed, and then scene members can begin implementing them. Now, while this obviously looks like a huge win right here, there has been a few other things that I've thought has been interesting to see as well. And so over in the Discord server, there is a user that is D-Link Turtle that posted this screenshot right here. And what this is they are using MasterCore and they are using the Lapse exploit. And as you can see right here, it stated hello from the kernel, which is a very good thing. And I must have to remind you that, again, you will need a copy of Okage Shadow King installed on your system in order to take advantage of this. And really, unless you installed it back in the day where everybody was talking about MasterCore, then you probably don't have that installed on your system today. Now, I have covered in detail on how to use MasterCore on the PlayStation 4, but we're just going to have to wait and see what comes out of this. But this is great progress that just happened today. Now, there is another message that I want to talk about, and that was another Discord post that was submitted by EchoStretch. And what is stated here is that 3.00 to 7.61 updated to the latest layers repo and added a kernel fix for 8.00. But he does state right here that 8.00 is still broken and not enabled. And if you do want to use this, you will need to use SOCAT. Now, I also saw that there was a video posted, and that is this one right here, where you can see that the remote Lua loader running on a PS5, and then right there it shows PS5 Kstuff successfully loaded. So what this means here is that if we are able to go ahead and have Kstuff, then we will soon be able to start dumping some of the games on that version 8 SDK. Next up, I saw this tool here that was called PS5 DLC Toolchain and got to looking at it, but found that this explanation from the author made the most sense to share with you. And it says, I have made a single-click toolchain executable for fixing downloadable content on the PlayStation 5 on PS4 fake packages. You only need to provide a patch, a base game, and DLC, and the tool will do the rest, assuming you have all of the available existing groundwork from Cyber. So if we go ahead and jump over to this repo here, we can see that there was some activity just a couple of hours ago. And if you scroll down into the PS5 DLC toolchain, you can see there is a quick start guide here where you download the latest release, you run the executable, and then in the order you go through the patch, the base, and if it does have any additional DLC. And then from there, you will have a DLC merged.pkg. So definitely give this a shot if you are one of those that is wanting to work with downloadable content and you found that a bit of a pain on the PlayStation 5. Next up, I saw this really cool DualSense Tester. Now, it does require Chrome and some of those other things, but if you go to this URL, and let's just go ahead and refresh our screen here, and we're going to go to Add Device here, and DualSense Wireless Controller. We're going to click Connect. You can go through and you can test all of your different buttons on there. You can test the speaker volume. So you can come over here and you can blink on the light here, and it is now blinking the mic status light. I can turn it on or I can just turn it off if I want to. Light bar color is currently at green, but I can change that to purple. So it is showing right now as purple on my controller. And yeah, there's quite a bit of other things that you can do in here. It's got the battery level and a few more things. And there's some factory information. So very interesting stuff. It's got the build time in here, hardware info, and again, tons of other things here. Probably some information that you all don't need to have on my controller, but it's okay. That one is offline. So there is the URL that you would go to if you want to go ahead and play around a little bit more with this. Next up, just last week I released a video that talked about PSFree with Lapse, and I mentioned that those of you who were using a 9.00 PlayStation 4 might have some issues saving or a black screen, and I walked you through downloading this plugin right here and then installing that inside of GoldHEN. Now, so far, that has been working very well, and if I go ahead and bring up this other new link that I just found, it says that I've made a simple little payload for PSFree Lapse Fix, and you can enable the payload on their site in the settings. So in this instance right here, if you wanted to use Nasky's site, then you could do that, and you would be able to load the payload directly from the site instead of having to load it through like we did with GoldHEN and taking advantage of the GoldHEN plugin. So a little bit of a quick fix for those of you that wants to get that up and running. And then I saw Andyman, which keeps a collection of PS4 firmwares for the Southbridge and Torus, has just updated a few new firmwares here, and we can see that 12.52 was just added in here yesterday. And then we've got 12.50 that was added right around the March of the 25th. So it is interesting to see that this is continuing to be maintained, and there is a ton of more information in here if you want to go and look through this in your own time. Now, I noticed another update over here from Null Pointer, and that was for something called the PlayStation 5 Save Mounter. Now, if we look in here, we can see that as of yesterday, there was a few new commits, and it was add image patches for version 7.20. So again, if you take a look at the main repo here and you scroll down, what it states is that this version is using patching to save data so it can be mounted without launching the game. It solves the issue of failing to mount specific game saves as they are already mounted on the game boot. Read the original README files below. And so for PlayStation 5, it really had only supported just a few of these versions, but again, if you go into the releases here, you can see that the latest releases that was just added was 5.50 and 7.20. Now again, there was a new version of PS5 Debug that also came out, and you can always get the latest version just right there. Okay, so next up, this one is a bit about using Gentoo or Linux on the PlayStation 4. And if we scroll down into this, you can see that this is how to install Gentoo and turn your PS4 into an emulation station. Now, this is really great right now because you can get PlayStation 4 FATs or the original PlayStation 4s for very cheap, at least where I am at. And from there, you could turn that into a emulation station that has all of your Nintendo games, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and all of that other stuff. And that is exactly what this is. So it gives you some prerequisites that you will need, as well as if maybe you just want to run this underneath Windows. And here's how to resize the partition and more about the partition information, giving you your username as well as your root username and password. Anyways, it does list which one of the games and emulations that it comes with. So RetroArch, Steam, Lutris, and then Scum VM and a few other things. And there's all your PlayStation 1 through the 3 emulators, and then a GameCube emulator. Okay, and just to wrap up here, I did want to remind you again of my PS4 and PS5 firmware guidance that I have. I can't tell you how many times I'm asked about different firmware versions, and literally this is one of the best sources for that, at least in my opinion. Anyways, thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Michael, out!